Hey there, Movie Squad. Joey DeAngelis and Richard Purnell here to talk about the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I guess we'll file this into the Disney World's video series. Richard, how you doing tonight?
Wait, we're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean?
What'd you think?
Again?
What again?
Again? Man, is this my first Disney Worlds video?
I
Is this my first appearance on Disney Worlds?
I guess that would be the case. Yeah.
Well, hello Disney World. How are you all doing today?
I guess we'll have to put you on our Haunted Mansion video as well, the Eddie Murphy film.
I don't want to talk about that one. Don't make me. I'll talk about Pirates of the Caribbean gladly, but I will not talk about. You know what? Move on.
Yes, so we're here to talk about the highly successful Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. The reason for this video's existence is because Richard and I both have at least some sort of appreciation for these movies.
Can I do that? Do we own that? I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? You're just I'll raise hell with YouTube. So
Hey, if anything, we can do at least 20 seconds of a song. So that was at least a good like 10, 15 seconds. So it should be fine.
so anyway, with these movies, there's been four of them, and we're getting the fifth one next month.
Woo!
So it's pretty close, and we just wanted to do a somewhat brief retrospective on this franchise. But before I can do that, I have to talk about, well, why the hell do we have Pirates of the Caribbean movies? Well, there was a period in time when Disney thought, you know what? Let's make live action movie versions of our famous theme park attractions.
Because why not?
So they have done this. Well, they did a TV movie of the Tower of Terror
With you know who,
with you know who.
freaking. You know what? Again, move on. I'm
We'll,
sorry.
we'll move on. So, and then I believe the same year as Pirates was Country Bears, I think.
We're not the right people to talk about that one. We know somebody that
We know a good friend of ours, good old Christian Iverson. So
Shout out.
with these live action, they're adapting these popular theme park attractions, and as some of you may or may not know, the original Pirates of the Caribbean attraction opened in Disneyland in, I believe, 1967, and was highly praised for its use of audio animatronics. Has such an iconic theme, and for anybody going to Disneyland or Disney World, it's a park staple. So much so that when Disney World opened, it didn't open with a Pirates of the Caribbean, and people complained that they didn't have a Pirates of the Caribbean. The reason, I believe, was that the Disney company felt that Florida already has enough exhibits about pirates down that area, and real like fortresses and things they can look at. So they didn't think a pirates attraction would do well. But quite the contrary, people wanted to ride Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean. So 2 years later, 1973, we got a shortened version of the ride in Disney World. The Disneyland version is significantly longer.
Florida's got a lot of pirates, man. My cousin lives in Florida. He's a pirate now. It makes sense.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna be a pirate, you know where you go. You go to Florida.
All right. Good to know. Good to know.
That's the only contribution I have. I've never been on the ride. I've never been to the parks. I'm so sorry.
Well, we need to fix that one of these days.
I that was my plan at some point, is to fix that, because I would love to go. I'd love to go. If anyone wants to bring me tickets and a churro, I would appreciate that.
I'll get you a churro, and I'll get you a. Do you like pineapple?
Yeah, I can get down with some pineapple.
I'll get you some Dole Whip.
I can deal with that.
Dole
Yeah.
Whip, some pineapple ice cream with pineapple juice,
And a churro.
and the churro. Yes, we'll go from Adventureland to Frontierland and get your churro.
Ooh, okay.
So
I'm set.
So anyway, Pirates of the Caribbean, the movies. The first movie
Ooh.
came out summer of 2003.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow. I totally forgot about that. I thought it was a little later than that.
No,
Wow.
well, the second and third ones were 2006 and 2007 back to back, but we'll get to those later.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this. I'll talk about my memories first, and I'll get to you, Richard.
Oh, fine then.
All right, so 2003, I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I've been privileged enough to have gone to Disney World countless times.
Rub it in, rub it
I
in.
know, I know. I'm sorry.
Salt in the wound, good sir.
Instead of white guilt, it's Disney guilt. So, Pirates of the Caribbean is a very, very popular attraction. We all love it. And I saw it with my mom, brother, aunt, and uncle in theaters, the first one. And, it was a good movie. But I didn't... my time revisiting it a lot came when I got it on DVD around the time of the second movie. But with the first movie, I just think it's a great action-adventure thing. But, Richard, let's get to your... When you...
When I first saw the first one, wow, that was a weird sentence. Wow, I'm still flabbergasted that it was 2003. You said summer, right? So I was about 12.
Mm-hmm.
I was turning 13 at the end of the summer. I didn't see it in theaters, actually. I know that for sure. I don't even remember what movies I saw that year. Dang, I think I was so... oddly, I think I was just so focused on like other things, maybe. I don't know, but I didn't see that one in theaters. But we rented it on DVD when it came out because we still had Blockbuster that's dating me a little, yep. Blockbuster. Because actually, funny enough, I think we had just gotten a Blockbuster in town, so it was like the coolest thing ever. But we picked it up. I think maybe my sister or my dad saw it or something, and I watched it. And initially I was like, is this just really long? But I kept revisiting it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just some movies that maybe you just don't have a feeling for it, but for some reason you just keep coming back to it. And then eventually you start to kind of like go, wow, I actually really like this movie.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened with Pirates. I mean, I don't have that, connection like you have with the rides or anything. Like I've seen, things of the rides, I know obviously yo ho, yo ho. I know all that stuff, but I never had that personal connection. But when I watched it, over time, it really just became a favorite. It's like you said, it's great action adventure. It's almost like a classic movie with like kind of contemporary aspects to it. Johnny Depp's great in it. Obviously, there's a whole conversation you can have about Johnny Depp and his relation to Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, that movie made him more than just a character actor. He get an Oscar nomination for
he did. And people forget about that too, and people also forget about I believe Michael Eisner wasn't initially thrilled with getting Johnny Depp.
Yeah, like that's the story I keep hearing is that when he was doing his Keith Richards impression, essentially, which is so appropriate when you remember the later movies, just that every time they said cut, they looked at Johnny and said, "What is he doing? Why is he doing that?" But his logic made sense. I mean, pirates are like the rock stars of the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, they live the life they want. They are reckless. They don't give a crap. They do what they want, and that's what pirates do, and that's what rock stars do. The only difference is pirates don't really have electric guitars. They didn't have the invention at the time. Just give it some time. But yeah, like I remember watching it, and excuse me, my nose is really stuffed up. So if I breathe heavy, I'm sorry.
Right, it's okay.
But well, it's okay for you, but people watching are gonna be like, stop breathing. But yeah, it was a movie that eventually over time I became a really big fan of because it is kind of like a classic movie, and it's just a cool like pirate ghost story. Like I still love the scene in the movie when because I feel like it's such a classic movie scene too. It's just when Barbossa's coming out into the sunlight, he's like, "You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one."
Or in the moonlight, you mean? Yeah, that's a great bit.
Yeah. And then he just drinks the wine and it goes through his bones, and it's just like, oh, dude, that was just, I don't know. It just that whole like build up gives me chills every time. Geoffrey Rush. Okay, I love Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, but Geoffrey Rush doesn't get enough attention in these movies.
He doesn't, and he's such a great this villain, such a great villain for that first movie. So good. I mean, I love him in the other movies too, but he's so good in that first movie.
Yeah, so good.
And he's
Oh, man.
so over the top, but it works for the material.
Mhm. I like how him and then the dude that plays Gibbs are the only one that actually have pirate voices, but they
Josh and
make it
me
work.
Gibbs, yes.
Yeah, because they're the only ones that talk like this, that whole thing. But they make it work,
Right.
and it's so good.
I'm trying to with other things in the movie. You brought up like the classic like swashbuckler. Definitely gives me like Errol Flynn,
Yeah,
Tyrone Power vibes. And I watch some of those old pirate movies or old like sword movies. But also, like you said, it has like it's done on a larger scale. It makes me think
yeah,
of
it's much
something.
bigger. It's also much more like mythological
Right.
because it deals with like the mysteries of the sea, which is probably my favorite aspect going through the whole series.
Right.
Just like they might go a little over the top and be a little bit with some things, but I mean, I've always, I mean, I'm a Jules Verne nerd, you
Mhm.
know. Mysteries of the Sea is like awesome to me.
It reminded me of, in a way, how the first Indiana Jones is sort of a big budget version of a B movie, of a
Yeah,
B
exactly.
action adventure pulp thing. This is sort of a big budget, more modern version of a Hollywood swashbuckler.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I should also mention too, Ted Elliott and Terry Russo, or
The screenwriters.
Ruzio, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Um, they wrote the script for this, and they worked on, I think, the other one, the except for the fifth one, they worked on the other sequels, and they helped with the story on Aladdin and The Mask of Zorro, the Antonio Banderas, the first Zorro movie.
Yeah. So you know that they have that background
Yep.
to do that kind of storytelling.
I guess it's the other thing with this movie too is that the expectations for it, I guess, for a lot of people were so low. Like, really, you're going to? It's like today when people think, really, you're making an emoji movie. It's like back
Yeah.
then it was like, really, you're making a movie based off of a Disneyland ride.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that too. I mean, now it's become so common to just for Disney, especially Disney, to remake like anything, from their uh, their cartoon live action remakes they're doing nowadays, and
Yeah,
then you know, though admittedly I would like to see more theme park rides properly adapted, like with Pirates, because they tried it, but it seemed like they were only doing it for the money with some of the other ones. You know what I mean?
yeah. It was what was the other one? The other one's like Country Bears, Haunted Mansion.
I told you not to mention that movie again.
I'm sorry. It needed to be one last time. And Tomorrowland is not. I guess is the other one that I would mention.
I mean, I would probably argue Tomorrowland's one of it definitely wasn't like made just because like, oh, we need to have that
Right.
Tomorrowland money, but the movie was less than stellar,
It
admittedly.
tried, but it still failed. Whereas the other ones, I just feel like, except for like some of the design parts in Haunted Mansion, I feel like they really just didn't try.
And Terrence Stamp.
And Terrence Stamp, we can't forget about him. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is really the last time I'll bring up the Haunted Mansion movie. When I was at Disney World, back in the early 2000s, when the new Haunted Mansion movie came out, they actually had like the set or a recreation of like the Haunted Mansion, like the main foyer set,
Oh,
and
from the
you could,
movie?
yeah, and you can like visit it, and it was a pretty big, pretty grand piece
Oh,
there.
wow.
Just wanted to bring, that was a weird memory that I have. Um,
It almost feels like a wasted opportunity, though, given how good the movie did.
oh man. But this Pirates movie, I think you really hit the nail with like they give it the deeper mythology with like the Aztec coin and all that. I also
Mhm.
want to bring up, we already bring up Jack and Barbosa, but we also bring up Will Turner and Elizabeth Swan,
Oh, the goddess, this
Miss
this Keira
Keira
Knightley.
Knightley.
Yeah,
Yes. Um,
your celebrity wife. I like to call her.
yes, yes.
It's like
Uh,
you have Keira Knightley, and then I have Daisy Ridley, and those are our celebrity wives.
those are our celebrity babes. No, but I think they work out very nicely too as sort of like the
Hmm.
straight people in this, the story. And I guess that brings me to with this franchise is that they worked very nicely as main characters in this one.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it would have been really neat if in the sequels, if Jack was sort of like a man with no name or Mad Max type of character where he kind of finds himself stumbling on different high seas adventures with different
Mhm.
characters. But the approach they went with in the next two sequels really continues that storyline. But anyway,
Trilogy.
the trilogy. And so the first movie made a lot of money, made over $600 million worldwide.
Oscar buzz.
Got a couple Oscar nominations, including Johnny Depp for Best Lead Acting nomination.
That would be his first of what, two?
I,
Two or three?
I want to say he has two or three. I know because he get nominated for Sweeney Todd.
Heck yeah, he won the Golden Globe.
He won the Golden Globe. Very nice.
Huh.
So with Dead Man's Chest and At World's End, they decided to go with the Back to the Future 2 and 3 approach, where they shot them, back to back, simultaneously back to back, and they released them like the second movie came out July of 2006, 3 years after the original film, and then the next movie came out Memorial Day weekend 2007.
Yes.
And that year was around that month, the month of May, were like three movies where they were like threes of different series. So like Spider-Man 3, Shrek 3, and Pirates 3.
I didn't even realize that.
But
wow.
That's getting ahead of ourselves. Pirates 2, Dead Man's Chest. This story, of course, we continue on with the Elizabeth Swann and Will Turner dynamic. And but this time we're given perhaps the definitive antagonist of the series, since he is the antagonist for two of these movies.
Davy Jones.
Yeah,
Which again, like Geoffrey Rush, I feel like Davy Jones, just because he's associated with the ones that people are less interested in.
Right.
He doesn't, because that was a great villain. I'm sorry, he was.
Oh, dude, I think I look at him and I say, I wish like other movies had villains that were just as great as Davy Jones, because he has like the semi-tragic backstory.
He's layered.
He's he's
layered.
a great performance by Bill Nighy.
Exactly. Not Bill Nye, the science guy. Just want to point that.
Yeah, we just want to point that out.
It's not Bill Nye, but then again, if Bill Nye the science guy,
Davy Jones release the Kraken.
You know what? We'll have to get someone to remix that, turn it into some like new funky beat.
But yeah, Davy.
No one will get the joke, but it'll be great.
It would, and also is one not like an early use of mocap. I guess semi-early use, because now everybody knows what it is. But back then, you only had like Lord of the Rings and King Kong and maybe a handful of other things. But his like mocap, I watched the movies, the 2 and 3 recently, and his mocap still looks impressive.
Oh yeah, I always love in the behind the scenes stuff for like the Blu-ray or whatever, where they show him doing the piano when he plays the piano and his head's like snaking back and forth.
Right.
And I just like, I don't know, I dug that. I did.
And I'll also bring up the Kraken because I'm such a huge 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea fan.
The Kraken!
The Disney version. Yes, the Kraken.
I had to do it, I'm sorry.
And just giant squids in movies attacking things is just awesome to me.
It's always a treat when a giant squid attacks.
And I love the Davy Jones, like, organ music when you see the Kraken destroy something or Davy Jones do something intense.
Shout out to Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, man, like that. The Pirates scores,
again, iconic.
Iconic scores, and they're definitely like. Whenever I talk to somebody in college, they'd be like, "That's like my They're like, "That's my motivation jam."
If I worked out, I would work out to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Just listening to "He's a Pirate" is just one of the best. Just when I walk outside and I start running. And start jogging, dun, dun,
and I just pretend I'm Jack Sparrow standing on the freaking mast while it's sinking. Just
oh yeah, that's another great scene from the first movie where that's a perfect introduction of a character.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Going back to the first one, yeah.
But the second one, basically, Jack had made a deal with Davy Jones at some point, and now Davy Jones is coming for his soul.
That's what happens in these movies.
That's just what happens, and that's basically the main gist of this film.
Do you remember when you first saw
Yes.
Dead Man's Chest?
Yes, it was the opening. It was the opening Friday night, and we were supposed to see it with our summer camp group in that morning, but
Hmm.
not everybody got their PG-13 permission slip signs. So we had to see Nacho Libre instead.
I'm sorry.
It was I was mad, but we were able. I was able to see the movie with my mom's boyfriend at the time, my mom, my brother, and one of my best friends at the time. It was a 9 o'clock at night screening, which was like the latest I had ever seen any movie, and I thought it was so cool getting out of a movie at like past midnight. I'm like, whoa! I feel like I'm doing something illegal.
I'm gonna go buy some alcohol now.
I'm gonna
Oh,
I'm gonna stay up past my bedtime.
I'm gonna get some ice cream and some root beer and just party.
Woohoo! No, but I remember seeing the second one in theaters, and I was thoroughly, as a kid, I really loved it, and
Yeah.
it's still one of my quote unquote guilty pleasure movies, I guess you would call them.
The movie you're like, I know it's got problems, but I
It's
still
got
get a kick
issues,
out
but
of
I
it.
ignore them, and I have a good time with Dead Man's Chest. Some of the action scenes, the stuff with the cannibals, where like they're climbing up like the cage, and then they have to escape. Just a lot of great like chase sequences. The fight encounters with the Kraken are great. Some
Yeah.
great yeah, again it's great production values in the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies. They're great looking movies themselves. When did you first see Pirates 2?
I, at this point, I was actually a fan of the movies. Some my neighbors and I, like, we would quote the first one all the time because we just became super fans of it. And when we heard that the second one was coming out, we got so excited. We were like, we have to go see this movie. So we went to, it might have been one of the midnight showings. I don't know if they were doing midnight showings at that time, but I know we saw it like the first showing we could.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had a blast watching it. We were, like you said, like this is 2006. I was probably about 15, somewhere around there. So I didn't have to, get a PG-13 permission slip or nothing like that.
Right.
I was kind of an adult then. I really wasn't. I was a punk kid, really. Reference, inside joke. But no, like I just remember watching it and just being really, like I said, like I love, just like you said, the visuals and the action is really cool. I loved seeing Jack Sparrow again. I loved seeing all those characters, and just the mythology that we're building up. I think was always something that really intrigued me in those movies, and it's still even into the third movie. Just the cool, like, the story of, like, the what Calypso,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and the heart in the chest, and just all that stuff was just really cool. And I mean the East India Trading Company stuff, give or take, but the stuff like with Davy Jones, the stuff with Jack and all that stuff, that was the stuff that really interested me. And it's always a plus to see Keira Knightley in a pirate outfit.
Oh,
So
totally.
it's always it's all
I'd also like to mention all like the different designs for the Davy Jones crew, because they're all like partially transformed into like sea creatures and like coral reefs, and it's just like a lot of thought went into that stuff. So props to the design team for that. And I believe this film won the Oscar for best visual effects. Definitely well deserved. The other
visual effects, production design. I'm a big Rick Heinrichs fan, who did the production design on this. He's worked with like Tim Burton a couple of times. I know he's worked with a few other directors, but he brings his all. So I've always been a big fan of his, and like I love the Flying Dutchman, which you can't not say that without thinking of SpongeBob. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is very true. Ladle.
Ladle, ladle, ladle. Arrgh, I am the Flying Dutchman.
So a couple things I want to mention with Dead Man's Chest. This was, I believe, at the time of its release, was the third movie to gross $1 billion worldwide.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which that was back in 2006, and the only other two movies that had done this were Titanic and the third Lord of the Rings movie.
So another movie about a boat and another mythological movie.
Yes.
I'm noticing a pattern here.
There is a pattern. I remember like my uncle like watching the box office totals for this movie. That was probably like the first time I had ever taken note of box office. I guess, which is something I'm totally obsessed with now.
Yes, you are.
I am very obsessed. I go on Box Office Mojo probably like 10 times a day. I kid
I
you
have not visited that website once.
But the interesting thing too with Dead Man's Chest was that it had initially had the biggest opening weekend of all time with $135 million, which seems like small potatoes now when you have Star Wars opening to like almost $250 million. But back then, it crushed Spider-Man's opening weekend record,
which was the biggest movie at the time.
It was the biggest It was like the biggest movie at the time, and Pirates at that point became the fastest movie to reach 100 million.
And that's when people started noticing franchises again.
Yes. So this one made over $1 billion. Critic-wise, but you know what? Audiences seem to enjoy the adventures of Jack Sparrow and friends. And
I still have a good time with it.
It's still a fun movie. I'll put on Dead Man's Chest, and it's a good movie. Or not good. Yeah. It's a good time.
It's a good time. I love your correction. Not a good movie, but a good time.
And it's got a great villain. So you know what? Might bump it up to a good movie. Screw it. It's better than Avengers 2. I'll say that.
Just be open about who you are, man.
Better than a lot of the Marvel sequels. I'll put it to you like that.
Oh God, we're gonna get shot.
I don't care.
Oh, Joey, watch out! There's a little red dot in your forehead.
Oh, the Marvel snipers.
Ah! We're talking about another Disney movie. Is that okay?
We spent $4 billion for nothing! Alright, so now we have Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Oh, that one.
Yes, that one. This came. I remember seeing this like a Thursday night screening of it.
So you went early.
I went early to see this. Yeah. I went with like my best friend, and his family. And
wait, hold on. Whoa. Your best friend? What are you talking about? I wasn't there. I didn't know you at the time.
Richard, let me just describe the story.
Well, use proper words.
Stop getting your headphones in a knot.
No!
So, basically, we myself and a friend of mine, with one
That's
of his friends...
That's what I thought you said.
One of his friends, we saw Pirates 3. He absolutely hated it, and I thought it was cool. It had like an awesome... The Maelstrom sequence at the end of the movie is
amazing.
Sight to behold. But there is part of me that is slightly disappointed with that sequence because I'm like, man, you guys killed the Kraken and you had like 45 zillion boats and you didn't have any of them fight. This could have been like a 4-hour movie with just
because it's all about the Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman, the only ships that matter.
Like if it had the other ships, I think my brain would have exploded.
Just like, I don't even know who that guy is, but go for it, man.
That would have been the greatest. I mean, again, Marvel bashing. Screw Infinity War. I don't care about the Guardians meeting the Avengers. I just want those freaking pirate ships to fight the Kraken, and then Jack Sparrow to be going from like ship to ship, fighting Davy Jones and all that nonsense.
But unfortunately, you got like a condensed version.
I have a condensed version of probably one of the most difficult to shoot sequences ever. I feel so spoiled.
Yes, you should.
So basically, this one's a direct continuation of the second movie, and Jack is now at World's End or in Davy Jones' locker, and they get
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
He dies at the end.
The Kraken eats him
because he just goes, "I'm gonna be a man now. I'm gonna stab him as he's eating me." Oh wait, this is not a good idea.
Shoot. So then with this movie they meet up with Tia Dalma, who is spoiler alert, becomes Calypso.
Don't tell anyone.
This is at the end of the second movie, by the way, and we find out Barbossa is back.
He's alive.
Barbossa's back, which is nice because Barbossa's a great character.
Love Barbossa.
So then they have to go to there's an opening scene where they have to go to I guess China
to get something,
to get a map. And then you have Chow Yun-Fat, and I
pitching his head.
My friends were at the time were like huge Chow Yun-Fat fans,
and
they were so disappointed by his role in this movie.
he wasn't. Spoiler alert again.
Soul.
He dies.
He dies, and then
He dies.
that means my celebrity wife becomes king of the pirates. And I say king because that's the terminology they use. They don't change it to queen.
No. She's like, I'm going to be king. And you know what? That's the first time a big franchise just said, screw it, we're going to make her king. We're not going with the gender whatever.
Gender roles and identifiers, you know.
Go pirates.
Let's go pirates.
Go pirates, being modern.
So the other thing that I hate about this movie, and was kind of premise, one thing I hate about this movie that, you know, I feel like is a big problem, not a big problem, but it kind of pops up in the second one, is like there's all these like backroom deals and like different like backstab. And again, pirates do that. I get that, but it feels like it takes over the movie.
I see what you mean.
And there's like a dumb standoff where it's like Davy Jones, Beckett, and Davy Jones is in like a bucket because he can't go on land.
Yeah.
So you have like this Ennio Morricone style like music going off, and they have this like, you know, basically Mexican standoff on this strip of land. And then you have backroom dealings with Orlando Bloom drinking a cup of tea, facing off against Davy Jones.
Because that's what he
does.
Well, let me just point. You mentioned Beckett. I just want to say one thing. If there's one character I could not care less about in this entire like movie franchise, it's probably him.
Oh! You know what I missed from the other one was Norrington.
Oh yeah, Norrington. Norrington.
Let's side note about Norrington. This episode's so disorganized. I apologize, but whatever. So Norrington.
It's a retrospective. We're remembering it.
Norrington was supposed to marry Elizabeth Swann in the first one, and then that didn't happen. And then in the second movie, he's become like, you know, a drunk, and he's bearded, and he's in one of the best action scenes in the franchise, where it's a 3-way sword fight between him,
Jack and Will,
and they go on the wheel, and it's this great scene, and Keira Knightley's trying to get their attention, and I'm like, guys, I don't care about the dead man's chest. Go after Keira Knightley. This is the most unrealistic scene in cinema.
Keira Knightley's right over there. She's gorgeous. And you're not doing anything.
She's in her cute pirate outfit. I mean, and then she says she's fainted. I'm like, no. What?
No. Even if it's fake, you're still like, oh my god, I'll come help you.
Nope, these guys are a bunch of jerks and they all deserve to die. At least Jack died temporarily.
And Will, sometimes I think Will doesn't deserve her.
No. Especially since he agreed to be in The Hobbit, so yeah, he doesn't deserve it. So what else is there in this movie?
Good job.
There's the multiple Jacks in the beginning.
You know what? I'll say this. You know, like you said with Dead Man's Chest being a guilty pleasure, I don't really like that term. But if I had to use it, I would probably apply it towards At World's End, just because again, like it is definitely. Well, at the time, it was the worst Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
But you know, honestly, the Davy Jones Davy Jones locker stuff, I don't know, that just killed me. It's so over the top ridiculous. It gets really stupid at times, but I'm just like, you know what? I'll deal with it. I'm having a good time.
And you know what? At World's End makes me think of Return of the Jedi because it deals with the main characters going on a quest to get the most popular character, one of the most popular characters in the franchise, out of a situation.
Exactly.
So no wonder it's my least favorite out of the first three.
And at least it didn't have teddy bears.
This is very true. The third act of At World's End does not have teddy bears.
It's significantly more interesting.
Although, you know, I would have killed for Blue Tailspin style going in the Sea Duck. Preferably voiced by Bill Murray, flying in and like shooting up at the pirate ships.
Freaking Bill Murray shows up. Hey guys, like, what? Too early, man. Too early. Your movie comes out a couple years from now.
It's like Jon Favreau's like, let me direct the movie.
Just let me get in here real quick. Iron Man's not supposed to come out yet. Come on, let me do it.
Oh man, and then think about this movie. They kill the Kraken, which always pissed me off.
Well, they don't even kill the Kraken. He's already dead.
Well, yeah.
You don't even see him. You don't even see like any kind of glorified death or anything. You
see a beached Kraken.
Yeah, and then freaking Pintel and Rigetti are like Kraken Slayers. They start poking at it with a stick.
We didn't talk about those guys, but they are the other comedy relief in these movies.
Yeah, they're there. They have a significant, important aspect, as we find out. Like, they're not just there because they're there. Like frickin', which one's the tall, skinny one?
I forget. It's like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. You get them mixed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Which one is which? Yeah. I don't know.
I don't remember. Somebody in the comment section will be like, well, actually. I'm like, I don't care.
Like, thank you, but
let me enjoy my giant squid movie. Oh, wait. The third one, you refused me that.
That's why you watch the second one and just move on.
I'm just going to make my own third version of the special edition of Pirates 3.
Just George Lucas it.
Well, I'm going to hand the Kraken in this movie because it's going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen in this movie.
It's going to be so good. Everyone's going to like it. Wait, what? No? Oh, wow.
Well, at least
I tried.
And then we get to the pirate court, which was one of the more memorable scenes in the movie.
That's my favorite scene, and it's probably because of Keith Richards.
And there's also Sisumbachi, who is like one of the pirate lords, and he has this funny voice where he's just like, and so we shall go to war. And then you see all these pirates from different countries, and they have their own piece of 8, which is supposed to form Calypso. Honestly,
that part confused me. Like the whole piece of 8 thing, and then there's the whole like coin that they focus on way too much, and then the little kid gets hung after they sing the catchy like, well,
that's at the very beginning.
We'll roll.
Like Disney can get dark sometimes, but man,
that's the first scene in the movie. Is let's hang all these pirates, and they do the frickin' like Holocaust pile of shoes thing, and it's like, really, you're going that dark with this?
Oh boy! But one thing that did come out of that, like the pirates court scene, was there always that meme where it's just like, this is madness, this is politics.
I like that. That is true.
And that's the once like I remember seeing that. I saw it twice in theaters, but that's the scene that always got the biggest laugh. Was that
yeah. This is madness. This is politics.
This is politics.
This is Sparta. Kick.
So I guess with this movie,
you remember when you first saw this one?
With 3?
I know we keep asking that, but I'm curious. Do you remember?
With 3, I said it earlier. I saw it with a friend of mine.
Oh, I thought that was only the first one. Or the second one.
No, the second one I saw, I was with other people. And then I saw it again like the day after with other friends. And then that same friend came along with us, but then he just like sat outside and was playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, that sounds sad.
I
saw this one I actually saw this one and Dead Man's Chest twice in theaters because it was something, because like at the time me and my grandmother would go to the movies all the time. That was like our go-to thing to do. So we'd go to the movies and then we'd go out to like Fridays or Applebee's and have dinner,
right,
and talk about the movie or talk about when my dad was a kid and stuff like that. And Pirates of the Caribbean was like a significant movie for her and I. Like those movies were significant for us because she was in love with Jack Sparrow. That was like her favorite thing. She loved how like kind of fruity he was, but also like how like funny he was, and
right.
So like that's the thing I'll always remember about Pirates of the Caribbean was just how that series, as good or as bad as the movies are, how that series like made me bond with my grandmother a little bit more, which is kind of nice.
That's really
neat. And that's like the thing I'll always remember with those movies. And so like when the 4th one came out, I was just so sad because I was like, she'll never get to watch this one. Maybe she wouldn't have liked it, but she'll never get to watch it.
So Pirates, I guess we'll move on to Pirates 4.
I mean, if you want. On Stranger Tides.
So, AKA. Okay. The worst one, aka the worst one, the one that I got for $1.
I got it for free.
Well, you're so.
Hey man, that's what happens when you work at a used video store and you take all the used frickin' Disney DVDs and take the codes out of them because no one knows how to use Disney codes, and then you get the movie for free on Disney Movie Rewards because you're a boss.
So the third one didn't make as much money and got some negative reviews, or at least more negative than the last one.
So I feel like by then people were just tired of it.
They were tired, especially when you release a movie like year after year, and you're like, "Gee, that gets tiring after a while." Marvel, and maybe it could happen with Star Wars too.
I'm just saying, Marvel, slow your roll. You got 3 movies this year. How about no movies next year, and then 2 more movies the year after? I'm just saying.
I would be okay with this. You know what? Maybe 3 movies this year and no movies for the rest of the time.
We can do that too.
So
I mean, side note, I do want to say, yeah, we bash on Marvel a little bit, but we'll throw some DC. We'll throw some DC bashing in there too, just to
even the playing field.
Like, hey, remember that scene in Batman vs Superman when they're talking about Martha? How ridiculous was that?
I remember how Suicide Squad just felt like just grounded beef. And just felt like just nonsense.
Oh, you slay me.
So Pirates 3 made
4.
Pirates 3 made about $900 million worldwide, in case you were wondering.
Oh.
So, and then this one came out.
Was it 2011?
4 years later. A pretty lengthy bit of time between sequels. Came out 2011, directed by Rob Marshall.
Yeah. Different director. Gore Verbinski was done. He went on to do, that one movie with Johnny Depp.
Yes, that's right.
Not Rango. Rango was great. But the other one with Johnny Depp that was also a Western. I think Joey is like a secret hidden fan of.
You know what? It had a great action scene. I'll give it that.
At the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie, it had a great action scene, but it also insults the lore of Lone Ranger by having Johnny Depp tell the Lone Ranger not to say his famous catchphrase.
Hi-ho, Silver.
Yeah, it's just like, don't you ever say that again, Kimosabe. Makes weird hand motions. Ooh.
I mean, that's all Johnny Depp does anymore. That's his acting. Is weird hand motions.
Captain Jack Tonto. So, Pirates 4. Okay. So
Rob
Marshall, Pirates 4. This one does not feature Will Turner or Elizabeth.
No mention of them at all.
No mention of them at all. Although it is a continuation of sorts, because they do have a map at the end of the third one.
They have a map because basically, spoiler alerts again. The end of the third one, Jack doesn't have the Black Pearl anymore. It's taken from him. And so he's in his little dinghy boat. We finally see the Jack Sparrow flag, which I don't think we've ever actually seen the Jack Sparrow flag, which is literally, it's got a little red sparrow on it.
Right.
And he has taken, while Barbossa might have taken the Black Pearl, Jack took a piece of the map, which Barbossa is obviously not happy about.
Yep.
And basically the whole point of the map in Pirates 3 is that it gives you the location of all these amazing mythological things. Like pretty much any kind of mythological or fantasy type scenario you can think of, this map could probably find. And the thing that Jack is trying to find, because Jack's obsessed with living forever, is the Fountain of Youth.
There you go.
And so that's what he's going to try to find in Pirates 4 on Stranger Tides.
Yes. So how to get in this one? If it's a $250 million movie, but it feels like the production value has significantly dropped.
It's because it's not the same people.
Not the same people.
Not the same people. It's more Jack-centric.
It is. And like I said earlier, I do, this was kind of what I was talking about earlier, where I wish they would take Jack on different adventures without Will or Elizabeth. However, they make it very Jack-centric, and I feel like the story they have is not that great.
I mean, the thing with Jack is that Jack is one of those characters that he's a great character, but he's not a great centric character.
Right.
He's not. I mean, you don't really relate to Jack. You're entertained by Jack. You might relate to like some of the things that he gets himself involved in. I mean, you might relate to the fact that he doesn't want to die. I don't want to die. It's the most relatable thing a lot of people want, is that they don't want to die.
Right.
But as far as him as a character, you're just more like entertained and enjoy seeing him on screen as opposed to someone like Will Turner, who you can probably see a little bit of yourself. And as generic as he is at times, you can still see a bit of yourself in him.
Yeah, Will Turner is a real person.
Exactly. Will Turner and Elizabeth were basically the conduits for us as an audience to enter into this, ragtag, all crazy, whacked out world of pirates with characters with tentacle beards and, frickin' Barbossa and Jack Sparrow.
And remote control swords. Getting back to the fourth one.
And of course, let's not forget vampire mermaids with Spider-Man
powers. I remember that I almost shouted that in the theater when I saw that. That's a vampire Spider-Man mermaid.
What is this? I don't know. Could Ariel do this?
I want to be where the people are.
I want to be where the people are. I want to eat them all. I mean, I want to dance with them.
No, she sings to Prince Eric and she's like, nah, just kidding. I want to eat you.
And then he's like, what? And then you just say,
oh, man. I think I'd like Little Mermaid more if that was the case.
Oh, my God.
Movie. Little Mermaid's not a bad movie, but that would be really funny.
That would be insane.
So basically, what this movie has is it has the Fountain of Youth story. You have Penelope Cruz in this one, who was
again
hot babe, but not much, the greatest character in the world. Her father is Ian McShane as Blackbeard, and it's like, ooh, Blackbeard's in a Pirates movie.
And he's played by Ian McShane, which is awesome.
Holy cow, this is amazing! I can't wait. And he's just kind of lame.
He's kind of there.
Like his crew don't really have interesting designs. Very lacking compared to the crew of the Black Pearl from the first one and the crew of the Dutchman in the other two sequels. The Queen Mary has like a flamethrower, which I guess is like the one like.
You mean the Queen Anne's Revenge?
The Queen Anne's Revenge, whatever. Yeah. Thank you.
Queen Mary, what?
I'm thinking of Margot Robbie's role that she's gonna play Queen Elizabeth.
I don't blame you. I always think of Margot Robbie.
So it's Queen Anne's Revenge. Thank you.
I will point out that we're not just pig-headed males. I just want to point that we're not just talking about how sexy women are. They're also great actors. I just want to say that.
And we are also talking about how bad this movie is. So. Basically, the story is that she wants to have her father's Penelope Cruz's character wants her father's soul, saved because she's
her name's Angelica, by the way, which is my sister's name.
I forget. Oh, yeah, it explains everything.
I mean, it's my sister, Joey. I understand you're not a fan.
I mean, I understand, but also understand I'm not a fan of the stupid movie.
Yes, Angelica is trying to basically she's trying to take control. No, she's trying to save her dad or something. I don't know.
To redeem her dad's soul, and so she thinks the Fountain of Youth is going to do it. That's why they have a priest along, played by Sam Claflin, who you might have seen in Me Before You and as the trident wielding dude from the Hunger Games.
That's right, and then he was in a few other things too, but I can't really. I can't think of anything else.
He develops a relationship with a mermaid.
Who is hey, why not? She's like the only one that doesn't vamp out.
Yeah, she's the one that doesn't vamp out. She's like she's there. And you need mermaid tears for this thing to work. And you also have the Spanish people.
What was up with that?
Spain, and they want to get the Grail, and then as soon as they get the Grail, it's like, no man should be immortal. The only key to immortality is heaven, or something.
Yeah, it just weird. That was the one element that just made, because they didn't even follow that part of the story at all. They just gave you random moments throughout the movie, oh yeah, remember this guy? He's also trying to get the Fountain of Youth.
I also actually want to point out that On Stranger Tides is not just based on the Pirates ride. But there's also a book that's unrelated to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise called On Stranger Tides, written in the 1980s, written by Tim Powers,
Mm-hmm.
and does feature Blackbeard, and was also a major influence on the Monkey Island video game series by LucasArts.
Oh, how about that?
So, I'm trying to think. There's not really too many action scenes that, in my mind, really stand out.
Not like honestly, nothing. Like I get some enjoyment out of some aspects of it, but nothing really. Like even like the what could have been like a sweet cameo moment with Judi Dench when she showed up. Do you remember that Judi Dench being in the movie?
What part was she in? I'm trying to.
That was in the bit when Jack is being basically forced to join, and then he like tries to escape, and he lands into that.
Oh
that
yes, I remember that now.
And then like, when did Judi Dench get here?
What was she doing? What are you doing here, Judy?
Like she was just visiting the set. And they're like, get in there, get in there. What? Why? Just get in there. Okay, I'll get in there, but I don't understand. Like if there's an award for like most weird, like out there, pointless cameo ever, it'd probably be Judi Dench in Pirates 1. It's like, where did she come from? I don't know, but she's in the movie.
Yeah, she is in the movie, and I'm trying to remember. There was another like cameo in this movie. Not cameo. I'm trying to think. King George. I'm just gonna see King George. I'm looking this up on my computer because it's gonna aggravate me if I don't find it. Oh, Richard Griffiths.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, King George.
You remember him from the Harry Potter franchise.
He was also in, he was in Sleepy Hollow. He was in, he's a very prolific actor. He was everywhere.
Quite.
Great actor.
Quite.
But that's just one of those movies that you're like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, it exists, and I think
which is because of the performance of this movie probably explains why number 5 might be the last.
Well, I actually was reading a statement where they were clarifying that were the director of the 5th one saying this is the beginning of the final adventure or something dumb like that, because I have a hard time believing that this is going to be the last one unless it bombs so hard.
Like there's like the factors I feel like are there though, you know what I mean? First of all, you got Johnny Depp is nowhere near as big as he used to be, and especially given the track record of the movies he's done lately, which haven't really been all that. Mordecai, I'm sorry, Mordecai, Johnny, I love you, but Mordecai, really?
Yeah, he did Mordecai.
I'm sorry, I don't want to bring that one up either. And then of course there's that whole thing with Amber Heard, which
and also notice
with
these trailers, they really cut down Jack's exposure in them.
Yeah, I mean, they do have that one poster where it is just Jack Sparrow, but like for the most part, the thing that it gets the most focus is Javier. Javier gets focus. The guy that apparently is, I guess. Can I say this, or is this a spoiler? Is he Will's son?
We are speculating really hard based on trailers, so if you think that's a spoiler, then stop watching the video, I guess.
Yeah. Will's son, because Will Turner shows up, and Keira Knightley's going to show up in this movie.
We just found it out recently that she has a cameo in this movie, which actually reminds me, each of these movies has an after-credits scene.
Yes, it's true, because the first movie ends with Monkey Jack getting the coin, and so now he's immortal, so he shows up in every movie. The second one ends with the dog.
The dog is the king of the cannibals.
Yeah, the dog is the king of the cannibals, which doesn't get mentioned ever again. So the dog's probably dead.
Well, no, it isn't. It isn't, because number 3...
Yeah, I forgot the dog shows up again.
The dog survives, which is a more interesting thing than Jack strapping the sea turtles to him. I'm sorry, I want to know that dog's adventures.
That dog strapped some sea turtles to him, I'm just saying. Using the hair from his back. Yeah. And then the third one, which probably has my favorite ending, because at the end of part 3, Will Turner becomes the new captain of the Flying Dutchman,
Right.
releases the curse. Davy Jones is dead, and he gets freed. He's not like dead, so it's nice. It's actually poetic. He gets freed so he can be with the sea or whatever. I think you can make that argument or whatever. But then Will spends his one day with the 10-year span he has to be on land. His one day making love to Keira Knightley. Smart move. He says, "What? It's your wife, dude. You're not going to be on land for a long time, and it's Keira Knightley. Get out there."
And then the after credit scene is she sees the green flash, and she's holding their son's hand.
Mm-hmm. And so we're finally going to have a conclusion of that with the fifth one. Which, why didn't that get mentioned in the fourth one? I don't know. Did the fourth one even... I don't even remember the end credits for the fourth one.
Oh, the end credits was that she is stranded on the island, but she has a voodoo doll of Jack.
Oh, yeah. Again, that's the... Just a side note, it's always weird when the movies that you don't like have after credits. Like, it was so crazy to find out years later that X-Men Last Stand had an after credit scene that explains why freaking Professor Xavier shows up in the Wolverine. Like, what?
Like, yep, that was a thing.
Oh, that was ridiculous. But, yeah, I didn't even remember the end credit scene to the fourth one, but, yeah, the fifth one, yeah, it's coming.
Fifth one looks entertaining, and, you know...
I hope it's good. I hope I at least get some enjoyment out of it.
If, you know, and it's interesting that they're delving into Jack's past.
Yeah. I will say the makeup effect of de-aging Johnny Depp, you know, that like they did with
Michael Douglas.
Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War. Like, that stuff's admittedly incredibly impressive. And I'm glad they applied it to Johnny Depp because it actually looks fantastic.
It does look very very convincing. I almost thought, did they find like a lookalike kid to play young Jack Sparrow? I'm like, that's interesting. And then it's like, oh no, that's like a special effect.
And you're like, what? No way. It's insane.
But this one's got zombie sharks.
You know what? I'll take zombie sharks over vampire mermaids.
You know what? I'd take vampire mermaids in a better movie.
That's a good point, too. I would take vampire mermaids without Spider-Man tongues.
You know what? Okay, this is my proposed new Maelstrom sequence, right? Okay, so you got all the pirate lords and their pirate ships, plus the British fleet, plus the Flying Dutchman, plus the Kraken, plus you get the Queen Anne's Revenge.
Plus the Spaniard dude and his crew.
The Spaniard dude and his crew, plus the zombie sharks, plus the Spider-Man vampire mermaids.
And Javier.
And Javier's crew.
You know what? I'll take it.
No, and then suddenly out to the rescue, you see the Jolly Roger from you see like Captain Hook's ship. I mean, from Peter Pan.
Then out of nowhere, it's tailspin. He got Bill Murray as Baloo coming in, and then out of nowhere, the Nautilus just shoots out the bottom of the Maelstrom, fighting the Kraken, who's still alive. Captain Nemo going, I don't know where we are.
Full speed ahead.
And then out of nowhere, another submarine shows up. It's the crew from Atlantis. they were racing the Nautilus to the Maelstrom because they're like, what is this? This is interesting. And then out of nowhere, King Trident shows up.
Oh my god.
It's just like ginormous, like huge. He's bigger than all the ships.
But wait. But he needs to have a battle. Ursula comes back from the dead and then fights him too.
So they're fighting above all these ships. And then you still got Calypso in the sky, like whoosh, whoosh. And then just to throw in other frickin', studio franchises, the Titanic finally sails by. They don't bother with them, but they still hit the iceberg. And then out of nowhere, you see a giant whale shoot out of the water, and frickin' Chris Hemsworth's trying to kill it.
Wait. Speaking of whales, we get Monstro the whale from Pinocchio, and he jumps in.
We gotta throw more Disney. And when he jumps in, you just see Geppetto and Pinocchio still in his mouth.
No, and then you have like the pelican from Finding Nemo come in, and you have Dory and Marlin.
and Becky shows up. Becky, Roo, Becky, Roo. And then once the battle's over, once everything's done, everything's settled, you just hear, "Hi, I'm Sigourney Weaver."
That's a wrap. That's going to be a separate video on here. I'm going to.
And that is how we won the Academy Award.
This is a better movie than anything else in existence. I'm sorry.
Just two more things. I gotta throw in.
Oh no!
Two more things. Out of nowhere, we'll have a moment when one of the pirates falls into the water, and you see the ship. This is the after credits. He falls into the water, and he sees one of the wrecked ships. And in the wrecked ships, you see these two blue glowing eyes. And as it swims out, it's Jason Momoa as Aquaman. And he shoots at him and kills him.
Wait, and you said you have another thing? Because I have another thing I have to bring up,
too. No, that's the after credits. That's all I want to say.
No. During the battle, we find out there's a rift in the ocean, like in Pacific Rim. So we get the kaijus.
Oh my god! So the kaijus come out of the water, and then you look in the distance and you see these boats swarming this what you think is islands, but it's actually Godzilla swimming under the water. But he never shows up. It's just his back. He doesn't do anything. And then we have another boat from the other side coming in, and it's King Kong. He's in a cage, but he breaks out before he can go to America, and he jumps on one of the boats and starts attacking.
No, this is like 30-foot Kong, so he just jumps from boat to boat.
This is Skull Island Kong.
Oh man.
Where he takes one of the masts and just goes whoosh, and knocks all the sails off and starts whacking all the pirates off of it. Oh my god. And then out of nowhere, you just see freaking Killer Croc from Suicide Squad show up and just goes, "I'm beautiful."
No, and then you see Creature of Black Lagoon tries to do something but gets punted by one of the kaijus.
Get out of here. What are you doing? And while all this is happening, the water starts to slowly freeze, right? It starts to slowly get colder and colder, and this giant wall appears out of nowhere, and on top of the wall, the wildlings from Game of Thrones show up. And they're just staring at him all like, and all the dead pirates are coming back to life as wild as freaking
White Walker.
The White Walkers. Yeah.
No, but then Jon Snow comes up on a boat, and then he has to team up with Jack Sparrow.
And Jack Sparrow finds out his sword is Valyrian steel.
No, but then the best part is Baloo falls off his plane and is suddenly riding a dragon.
and while he's riding the dragon, he sees freaking Daenerys Targaryen. Like, who are you? And you're like, I am a bear.
I am piloting your dragon. And you hear Bill Murray go, Dracarys.
Oh my god!
And you find out Baloo is a secret Targaryen.
and then just for no reason whatsoever, like we start seeing stuff in the sky above Trident and above Ursula, and it turns out there's a space battle going on between the U.S. Enterprise and a Star Destroyer.
No, but wait, there's more. We throw in Dumbo, right? But Dumbo is not fighting. He's using his trunk to get some water in his trunk and shoot at the fire and try to prevent fire from going on.
He's like the referee on the field. Whoa, stop! Calm down, everybody, calm down. And then, oh my god, we totally forgot. You know who's involved in this?
Who?
Maui!
Oh.
freaking Maui and Moana are on the boat thing, and they're speeding across the water trying to put the heart back into the freaking island woman. They run into the maelstrom, and then Maui starts fighting everybody while he's singing, "Hey, it's okay, it's something, you're welcome."
No. All right, tonight I'm going to go on PowerPoint and make this into an image, or at least start saving images.
This will be the most amazing mural ever. Oh my God, you'll literally have to listen back to this and hear every single thing.
I think I might make this a separate video and just put it up.
Oh my God. Oh, that was great.
All right, so Pirates of the Caribbean, we through its ups and downs, we like this franchise.
It's got the classic swashbuckler adventure movie feel from back in the day, but it's got some modern aspects to it. And as good or as bad as some of the elements are, a lot of aspects of it are just iconic.
Right.
The music, the look, Jack Sparrow, obviously. I mean, I'm surprised Jack Sparrow, the character, doesn't have a star next to Bugs Bunny on the Walk of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, that's how big he is.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, the characters themselves have become so well known that in the Disney versions, in the Disney rides, they've put in Jack Sparrow and Barbossa, and sometimes Blackbeard and Davy Jones on their attractions.
Yeah.
So that was a retrospective of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Richard, thank you for joining me on this wild adventure.
I would follow you to the ends of the earth.
At World's End, even?
Maybe not that far.
Right.
I would follow you on a cursed black pearl, trying to find a dead man's chest at World's End, but probably not on Stranger Tides.
All right, that's fair. I wouldn't do that for you either.
I appreciate that.
All right, thank you guys for watching this video. Like, share, and subscribe if you're still watching this nonsense.
If you're not, still subscribe anyway. It's free.
Subscribe anyway. Bye.